Captain, I'm receiving an urgent docking request from another vessel.
Greetings from the Halcyon Parcel Service. Delivery is guaranteed within standard margins of certainty. I've got a special delivery for Alex Hawthorne of the Unreliable. With your permission, I'll see it transferred to your ship. It's a parcel, sir. This is the Halcyon Parcel Service. We don't deal in packages. With alacrity. Stand by, Captain Hawthorne. An HPS certified distribution technician has deposited the parcel into your cargo hold in accordance with hazardous waste disposal procedures. They dispense 3 complimentary spritzes of Anti-Cleo's Citrus Squirt Air Freshener. That's the HPS touch for you, Captain Hawthorne. On behalf of HPS, I'd like to remind you that HPS is not responsible for any damage, defacement, or unseemliness to your parcel. Thank you for your patience, and please remember HPS for all of your future parcel-related needs.
Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgon. Should have known better. But I landed on something big. And now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching. There's a whole research compound left of the Sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why. But something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose. Top runger who just came into some money, was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Talk to Minnie. Take the job. If I ain't gonna live to see the payday, might as well be you. Consider us even, old pal.
Well, that fellow certainly seemed trustworthy.
I've gotten jobs from some unusual sources, but this is a first. Congratulations, Captain.
I don't mean to sound prim, Captain, but there's gotta be a better way to ask someone to do you a favor.
I just want to say, we gotta take this job. This is the closest I ever been to starring in a serial drama. Only thing we're missing is a couple cameras and a soundtrack.
At least this won't be boring.
Lucky Montoya owed Captain Hawthorne a considerable debt. I believe this is what humans refer to as payback. Captain, the message contains landing coordinates for a small asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. It was recently registered to a Wilhelmina Ambrose. He was an old friend of Alex Hawthorne's. Lucky Montoya had a statistically significant tendency to encounter situations of extreme danger.
Well, yeah. I doubt this guy lost his arm filling out paperwork.
He was also the 4th best paid freelancer in the system. There are several hundred freelancers operating in Halcyon. Considering the numbers, Mr. Montoya ranked among the top percentile. This had less correlation with his measured aptitudes, which rank at or below average, than with a pattern of fortunate circumstances. Luck does not exist, Captain. Nevertheless, I am programmed to agree with your assessment. I have transferred the coordinates for Ambrose Manor to your navigation terminal. We can travel there when you are ready.
Yes, you caught me ruminating again. Guilty as charged. What's occupying your thoughts? Perhaps it's just my judicious nature, but I think we should be careful if we're following up on this lucky fellow's message. I've always felt caution as the best approach when one is delivered a message attached to a severed limb. He sounded lost, perhaps slightly untethered from reality. A feeling I know all too well. It doesn't strike me as a setup, but I still advise caution. Why not? It is what we do, isn't it?
Hey, Cap. Sure. Right now, I'm feeling like a canid following a trail of treats. Like I'm being misled at best. At worst, walking into a trap. Keep those eyes open, Captain.
Good to see you, boss. So we just sat around a table talking about a severed arm. of all the weird things that happened on this ship, that ranks somewhere in the middle. You ever watch The Masked Marketeer? Episode 5 of The Masked Marketeer. First appearance of a recurring villain. Big ol' galoot, built like one of those industrial-class garbage compressors. His name? Tiny. Every adventure serial's gotta have a supporting character with an ironical name. It's a rule of the Genry. Masked Marketeer had a massive bruiser named Tiny, and we got ourselves a real unfortunate hullhead named Lucky. Coincidence? I think not. We're freelancers. We take any job we can get. But this one? The dying message of a stranger. A severed hand delivered in a crate. Let's just say it beats flying around the colony running errands. So, of course, I'm gonna be excited. Hey, I get it. Gotta hand it to me. Severed hand. That's what you were going for, right? That wasn't what you were going for. Yep, I can tell by the way you're glaring at me.
Something on your mind? If there's one thing you could say about Lucky Montoya, he was always at the center of a story. Guess this is fitting. Sure, like Ada said, he was a big name among freelancers. I met him at Lost Hope once. He was buying rounds for everyone and telling a story about one of his jobs. Pretty sure half of it was made up. You ever get the feeling someone's just trying too hard? There was just something about Montoya I couldn't quite trust. He was always the center of a room, and he slapped a lot of backs to stay there. I'm trying to say that if he screwed this job up, that's on him. I still like our odds. He may have had a rep, but you're more capable than he ever was. Hey, don't get used to it. What's on your mind? From his arm? The decay makes it hard to tell. Could be a lot of things. Torn off by something with big teeth, torn off by something with big claws, torn off by someone with a moderately sharp blade. Or maybe he just got too close to heavy machinery.
Something busted, Captain? It's a shame about what happened to that Lucky fella. Maybe finishing what he started will help put his spirit to rest. Not a word. And I've been sticking my nose in every one of our stately ladies' crannies, stem to stern. Oh, law! That sounds untoward, don't it? That ain't what I meant. Point is, Captain, Mr. Hawthorne left all kinds of scribblings behind panels and under consoles, but ain't a lick of it mentioned Mr. Lucky. So whatever they got up to in the past must have been really extra secret. And lots of fun. Sure thing, Captain. It sure is lonely out here on the edge of the colony. Anything could happen, and ain't no one gonna come to help us. Alrighty. You change your mind, you just holler. You know, whoever wired this ship up had no idea what they were doing.
Welcome to Ambrose Manor. We were not expecting company. Please follow. Do not stray from the path.
Do not stray from the path. This thing sounds exactly like Max. You gotta admit, that was kind of funny. Wow, Ambrose Manor. Hey, you think it's haunted? I bet it's haunted.
At the very least, there ought to be something worth stealing in there. Okay, maybe not.
This place looks kind of sad. Like it's been waiting for someone to make a home out of it.
So who the devil are you? You don't say. Well, make yourself at home, Captain. I'm sure we have much to discuss. Do you see that glowing chunk of space rock? That's Gorgon. My birthright, my burden, and the bane of my existence. I hate to drink alone, and this is my third. So join me in raising a glass. To Gorgon. To Gorgon. May cosmic winds shepherd her to the nearest star. I'm Wilhelmina Ambrose, but you can keep it short and call me Minnie.
Nice to meet you too. Wow.
Now, what brings you to my house, handsome? I take it you didn't come all this way for the beverages, the starry skies, or the pleasant company. A severed arm. How positively ghoulish. You know this is a private residence, not a curio shop? Lucky Montoya is my personal freelancer. Fascinating man. Very brooding and theatrical. Always staring into space and twirling a bullet over his knuckles.
He's definitely not doing that anymore.
I could do that. The staring into space part, I mean. I'm still working on the bullet twirling thing.
But if something happened to him... Oh dear. I suppose that makes him my former freelancer now? Thank you. But the people in my orbit come and go all the time. Occupational hazard. What a time for his luck to run out. We were in the middle of something grand, and I really can't afford another setback. Excellent deduction. I can tell I found the right man for the job. How would you like to be my new freelancer? There's been a recent vacancy, and I think you're well suited to the job.
Remember, play hard to get. That's negotiation.
I could get used to people offering us a job at first glance. Usually they just squint at us all suspicious-like. Or reach for a pistol.
I'm looking for someone rough around the edges. A gorgeous, dashing scoundrel type. Incidentally, someone good with their hands. The man lost an arm. What are the odds of that happening twice? Of course, Gorgon is a treacherous place, and my own family's involvement with it has been fraught. Allow me to lay out the facts, and you can decide for yourself if you want to be my chief investigator. My mother, Dr. Olivia Ambrose, worked for Spacer's Choice at the Gorgon Research Facility. She was brilliant, the top scientist in her field, until tragedy struck. One day, Spacer's Choice shut down all research and evacuated Gorgon. Everyone had to scramble or risk getting left behind. It was chaos. Employees fled for their lives. Mother never made it home. I'm told she wasn't the only casualty that fateful day. Mother's name has since been dragged through the mud. Spacer's Choice blames her for the collapse of Project Gorgon, and I just know they're lying. Why, indeed? To cover up their crimes? To discredit someone who knew too much? I'm hoping you can find out for me. Mother would not have allowed Project Gorgon to fail. Something happened on that asteroid, and my family took the fall for it. The truth. Mother is gone, Gorgon is silent, and I deserve answers. That will depend on what we learn. The scope of this cover-up is enormous. Whatever Spacer's Choice is hiding could bring ruin down on their heads. Or it could just be another dead end. We won't know till we look, will we? I admired Mother, but we weren't close. She disapproved of everything about me, really. I couldn't measure up to her example. She didn't make time for us. I remember thinking that she never wanted a child, and never forgave me for being one, naive and irresponsible as I was.
Trust me, we are nothing alike.
A kindred spirit. Well, well, charmed. Today is full of surprises. Mother worked herself to the bone. She wanted to make the colony a better place, no matter who or what got sacrificed along the way. She never spared a thought for those of us who cherished her, who suffered for her idea of progress. We got close once. When I was a child, I enjoyed looking over Mother's shoulder, playing backseat chemist while she peered into a microscope. One day, she told me to leave before I broke something. Then, I got mad and broke something. Typical night in the Ambrose house. Mother and Gorgon were made for each other. I had the misfortune to be stuck in the middle. I don't know. And Spacer's Choice won't say. They don't discuss anything that tarnishes their brand. Gorgon has a dark history. The project fell apart. Personnel were shuffled across the system. With Mother gone, now I'm all that's left. Father lost more than his job on Gorgon. I'll say no more than that. The asteroid may look like a glittering jewel, but I assure you the resemblance ends there. Gorgon is poisonous to the core. One might even say cursed. I need your help, Captain. Project Gorgon killed Mother and disgraced the Ambrose name, and no one has been held accountable. Spacer's Choice buried the past like a dirty secret. You followed an uncertain lead all the way to my doorstep. You're curious, resourceful, and perceptive. All the marks of a good private eye. Whatever happened on Gorgon wasn't Mother's fault. I simply need the evidence to prove it. We're going to drag the truth kicking and screaming into the light. Even if it means bringing ruin and humiliation to Spacer's Choice. All the evidence I need should be in Mother's journal. You can find it in her office on Gorgon, in the heart of the old research facility. I'm not surprised. Between the family drama and the corporate conspiracy, it must feel like you've stepped on a landmine. Speak freely, Captain. I suspect it will prove that corporate greed and incompetence were to blame for the calamity at Gorgon, and not Mother. Mother was a brilliant woman. Difficult, cold, unreachable even, but brilliant. Then my family's disgrace, our curse, will be absolute. This is my last hope of redeeming the Ambrose name. I don't like my chances, but I have to try. And I need help. Your help. I didn't want to go anywhere near Gorgon. Once I exhausted all my options, the search led me back here. I even had Mother declared legally dead. Would you believe it took 5 years to process the paperwork? It isn't as bad as you make it sound, but technically, yes. Mother's body is still on Gorgon. No body means no death certificate, which means no inheritance. I killed Mother, just on paper, of course, so I could claim my inheritance. We wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have access to the family fortune.
Damn, wish I'd thought of that.
I once assumed the mansion and the money would be enough to redeem the Ambrose name. But even in Byzantium, prestige must be earned, and it can so easily be lost.
You know, some people work hard just to break out.
Break back into high society, yes. I'm trying to do several things at once. None of them easy. The smear campaign against Mother was the work of cowards. I'm vindicating the family name for her, for the colony, and for my future. Everything that Mother lost. This colony is in trouble. The lunatics at Spacer's Choice are running the asylum, and we need better people to wield their influence. After Gorgon, I quickly discovered that the Ambrose name was cursed, for lack of a better term. I had no place among the decision makers. No seat at the table.
That's Byzantium for you. Gossip mongering's a bigger sport than tossball.
That is why I'm clearing the record and vindicating the Ambrose line. For Mother, for me, and for the generations who will one day inherit Halcyon. I'm counting on it. You know as much as I do, I'm afraid. Spacer's Choice abandoned Gorgon, but the asteroid is far from unoccupied. Between the marauders, the wildlife, and whatever escaped the labs, danger abounds. Your guess is as good as mine. I know that Spacer's Choice bred canids, especially for Gorgon. They were supposed to act as living cattle prods. By now, they've probably gone feral. Just watch yourself. If you aren't careful, you stand to lose more than an arm. I believe that covers it all. Are you ready to get started? We mustn't allow the trail to get cold. You do all that for me? I was hoping you'd take the job, but I didn't expect you to care. I admire your enthusiasm. This manor has echoed with my own we, and I can feel you breathing new life into the walls. When you reach Gorgon, pack a weapon you trust. The corporate lockdown hasn't stopped the wilderness from squirming in through the cracks. I told him everything I've told you. Just the facts. Maybe a couple of harmless embellishments. Why? It's sure to be 100% with that attitude. Still, you're smart to ask. Lucky spent most of our time together spinning a pistol around his index finger. Not sure he listened to any of my advice.
That sounds like Lucky, all right. The man loved to show off.
He had an aura of rugged individualism that was quite charming. Not that it helped him in the end. But you won't let me down, will you, Captain? I've never understood why, but Gorgon is teeming with marauders. They almost seem drawn to sorrow and misfortune. Then there's the test subjects, those who survived anyway. Ravenous creatures left behind like so much salvage. There's a little saloon near Gorgon's landing pad, the Sprat Shack. Lucky was renting a room, so if you want to follow his trail, that would be the place to start.
The Sprat Shack? Hope they don't serve real sprats. There's a sprat worst place on the Groundbreaker. Tried it once, and I was sick for a week.
I think I've heard of that place. Cheap whiskey, rough crowd. You'll love it.
Just so we understand each other, money is no object. I'm willing to squander the family fortune if you get me what I want. Between your payment and any salvage you happen across, you'll walk away from this rich enough to buy a mansion of your own. How does that sound? The cash? No one's ever done this before, and the only person who tried is a corpse. Believe me, that's enough. Here's your nav key, Captain. Safe travels. Spacer's Choice should be the one apologizing, but thank you. Sincerely. A word of advice before you go, Captain. Trust no one. Mother's office is in the heart of the Gorgon facility. You're free to salvage anything that isn't nailed down. I only want what's mine.
It's not theft if she's giving us permission.
Hey boss, what's our policy on getting to know our clients a little better? You think she'd appreciate some company? All right, I can do this. Here goes. Miss Ambrose? Must get awful lonesome up here all by yourself. What do you do for fun? 'Cause if you're interested, I've got the full set of Terror on Monarch.
The last thing I need in my life is more corporate propaganda masquerading as entertainment. He is? Oh dear. It's been a while and I'm out of practice. You seem very nice and very pretty. And I'm sure there's a wealthy heiress out there who'd be extremely lucky to run away with you. Alas, it isn't me. Are we in agreement?
Hey, no problem. I figured it was worth a shot at least.
Is that what my thoughts sound like? Law, I've been standing near that alarm too long. You looking for supplies, stranger? Let's stock up here. If you run low on bullets out in Gorgon's far reaches, there ain't no one round here liable to help you out. Let me know if you're looking for something particular. You mean you came out to this asteroid without knowing nothing about it? Me too. Heard it was wild here and couldn't resist. Trouble is, if you wander off to somewhere you oughtn't be, like way out in Gorgon's farthest reaches, odds are slimmer of your bits finding their way to my pockets. If you want my advice, stick close to the Sprat Shack, unless you fancy having your limbs torn off and eaten. All right, you know you better than I do. Just be sure you watch out for the Marauders. That's the #1 thing. Oh, and the Mance. You watch out for Marauders, Mance, and Charles from accounting, and you'll probably be fine. Only the meanest Marauder on Gorgon, and also anywhere else. That man is crazier than a bag of canids and twice as likely to bite. He will bust your head open like an overripe mock apple if he so much as sees you. I ain't joking. He'll snap you in half like stale bread noodles. No, you don't get it. Charles from accounting is like... Imagine if you took 3 of the most howling mad marauders you could find and mashed them together. That's Charles. That and a rocket launcher. Did I not mention that? Right, sorry. He's got a rocket launcher. I don't know. Hard to guess how many he's killed, given the explosions tend to obliterate any bodies. I'm joking. No one bothers looking for bodies. Look, long story short, you do not fuck with Chuck. Best to avoid the Marauder camp entirely. That's my 2 bits on the matter. Huh? Oh, you don't gotta worry about that. Something to do with that scrap Project Gorgon from years back. Thanks for turning it off, by the way. I'd have lost my mind if the damn thing had gone on much longer. We tried. Couldn't persuade the control terminal to listen. No one round here is particularly mechanically inclined, and no one was gonna shut it down by force. That's for sure. I know, because even Von Hoffman couldn't bash it in. And I seen that tough son of a gun throw man clean across the Sprat Shack one time like he were a toss ball. Only that Spacer's Choice shut it down in a big hurry. From what I heard, some of their folks got left behind even. Don't seem like the project ended well. Yeah? His name is Charles and he used to work in accounting?
All right, inspection time. Look at my eyes for as long as you can without blinking. Starting now. Did I stutter? Just do as I say. Good. Look up. Now look down. You're doing swell. Now, name and occupation. Good enough for me. You're cleared to pass. That was a sanity check. If you had changed like the others, it'd be in your eyes. You'd also be drooling, cursing, and making a mess of the place. Welcome to the Sprat Shack. You can head on downstairs. Every day, salvagers and scrappers set out to comb the ruins and make their fortune. The ones who come back, they aren't always the same men or women who left. They change. Never for the better. First, they get real twitchy and paranoid, shouting at folks who aren't there. Then they smell like they soiled themselves, on account of how they soiled themselves. After that, they're gone. Nothing but animals wearing human skin. Seen it happen myself. It's never pretty. This is the Sprat Shack. the most remote watering hole in the system. Rule number 1, no fighting. Rule number 2, wipe your feet on the way downstairs. We're the only hospitable place on this rock. I want to keep it that way. That's why we have rule number 3. When people change, they stay outside, where they belong. Just don't ask me to dance. Bouncer, bodyguard, law enforcer. I make sure the Sprat Shack gets only the highest caliber of clientele.
And I thought this place was gonna be fun.
Highest caliber of what? Is he talking about guns?
We get a lot of brand-loyal corporate types, and a lot of cutthroat freelancer types. Both sides have their share of dirty scoundrels. And I hate dirt. This is a sublight bar, so most of our regulars come to plunder the old labs. The facility's locked up behind miles of red tape, so progress is slow. A lot of time to drink and reevaluate, then venture out and try again. Something bad happened here. Spacer's Choice was developing chemicals. The kind with nasty side effects.
Can this colony have one research facility developing something without horrible, face-melting side effects? Is that so much to ask?
Marauders outnumber the rest of us 10 to 1. Either they came from Gorgon, or something draws them here. I don't know which is worse. This place is under a dark cloud, stranger. That's all I know. If you want the history of the Sprat Shack, talk to Lex behind the bar. Watch yourself out there.
Smell that? Cheap whiskey and stale cigarettes. My kind of place.
Now this looks like a real dive. Hey, I wonder if they got those floorboards that creak when a stranger walks in.
Welcome to the Sprat Shack. First one's on the house, and I won't even water it down. What'll it be? Bottoms up. I assume you're here for salvage. Can't help you there. This ain't exactly a library. Most of my regulars are sublight scavengers. They pick over the ruins of Gorgon, spend their earnings at the bar, and head back out the next day. Vicious cycle, but that's life. You're the first new face I've seen in a while. Lucky. Sure, I knew him. He could get a little dramatic at times, but he was a good guy. Heard he took on a dangerous job. Spent a lot of time coming and going from the Office of Creative Incubation, just down the road. That's where the top rungers at Spacer's Choice came up with slogans and marketing. Lucky never told me why it was so important. Awful shame about what happened to him. You really want to hear my story? Law, most everyone around here is sick to death of it by now. Last I saw of Lucky was a few days ago. I went outside for a smoke and a stroll, and I saw this wild canid dragging a bloody limb. So I kicked the canid, scared it off. Get this, the canid was chewing on an honest-to-law human arm. Lucky's arm. I'm a bartender. Attention to detail is my middle name. Anyway, the arm was clutching a phonograph that mentioned someone named Alex Hawthorne. I did some poking around, and this Hawthorne has a reputation among the salvagers who frequent the bar. So I packaged up the arm nice and tidy and sent it care of the Halcyon Parcel Service. They even gave me a discount on the hazardous waste removal stamp. I figured Hawthorne would want to know what happened to his pal. Help Lucky get his affairs in order, you know. Oh, I hate to see people go with unfinished business. 3rd floor. Once I figured he wasn't coming back to pay his tab, I left his room unlocked to air it out. You can help yourself to anything you left behind. Fair warning, I've been letting the regulars use it for a quick lie down. Just wash your hands when you're done. Trust me. Spacer's Choice used to brew pharmaceuticals in these parts. That's why the asteroid smells like an old gym sock. They say Adrenatime came from here, just down the road at the old R&D lab. Very hush-hush back in the day. Roscoe might tell you more. He spent some time around here before the bar opened up, and I trust him well enough. There's always Leonora, my favorite customer over in the storage room on the second floor. Keeps to herself and always closes out her tab. He's been here since opening day. I think he told me he was some kind of journalist. He got left behind when Spacer's Choice pulled out, and I guess no one's coming to get him. Roscoe's drinks are on the house. We all know how it feels to get left behind. He'll be all right. He's with the family now, and we take care of our own. He didn't tell me, and I didn't ask. I'm his bartender, not his human resources rep. If you believe the chatter, a lot of good folks got left behind, and a lot of bad folks made it out. Sometimes that's all there is to it. Nice lady. Been coming around a lot these past few months. She isn't with Sublight, but seems to know the lay of the land better than anyone. She spends most of her days drinking alone. I think she's looking to hire someone, if you're open to a side gig. Now that you mention it, I thought I saw those two sharing stories over a pint. Didn't think twice about it. I don't speak ill of the dead, but Leonora deserves better company. That Lucky was no good for her. What are friends for, eh? I doubt anyone knows the full story. One day the evacuation order went out. Grunts and lab coats scrambled to get anywhere but Gorgon. And the weirdest thing of all, Adrenatime still hit the market. Me, I never touched the stuff. To each their own, but I think it's dangerous. Damn right we are. We've got drugs, scrap metal, prototype weapons, drugs, money, and more drugs. When Spacer's Choice evacuated, everyone dropped their gear and ran. Most of it stayed where it fell, and all of it is up for grabs. Of course, the real treasure is whatever's locked up in the old facility. Until someone figures a way to crack it open, we're just sifting through dirt. You got it, bub. Yes and no. The Sprat Shack used to be a shipping and receiving warehouse during the old Project Gorgon days. When Spacer's Choice pulled their guys off-world, Sublight moved in to salvage what we could, and they put me in charge. Yes and no. Rumor has it there's a Sprat wandering around the Groundbreaker, and he's the legal owner of the Sprat Shack. Hagen's idea. See, Hagen didn't want a paper trail that led back to her, so she gave the bar to the Sprat. If there were any legal problems with this place, the Sprat would do the time.
You know, they do something similar in Byzantium. Fancier system, but same idea.
Hey, Sprats can be real dangerous. I once saw a Sprat cross a guy off. Well, not exactly. Guy I worked with choked on a Sprat bone while he was having his usual salt tuna for lunch.
Anyway, that's what the paperwork says. I don't make the rules. Easy. His name's Matt. The beautiful thing is, no one could tell Matt Sprat apart from an ordinary vermin. I think that's kind of the point, to send the authorities on a wild Sprat chase. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. The Sprat Shack's gone through a lot of title holders over the years. As far as business arrangements go, this one's a head-scratcher, but they say it's all above board, so that's what matters. Yes and no. We're doing a lot more than squatting. We're classing up the joint, keeping the riffraff outside where it belongs. They didn't even serve drinks until I arrived. Talk about wasted potential. Yes and no. Again, that one was Hagen's idea. She told me that speaking in vague terms keeps you out of trouble. And I don't want any trouble in my place. Thirsty people come and go from all over the colony, mostly on the way to somewhere better. Some are well-connected, and not everyone pays with bits. That's how we get the unconventional goods anyhow. Sublight keeps us well-stocked with the essentials, by which I mean booze.
That was my salvage, Trixie! You had no right to it then, and you've no right to it now! A disagreement between professionals. None of your business.
I risked my life sneaking around Marauders to claim that wreck. And I didn't see your name on it.
Now you've done it, eat fist!
All right, that's enough! This is a family establishment! You want to make a mess? You make it outside!
But this was personal, Lex. It's a question of salvage. That wreck was gonna make me a fortune. Hey, didn't I warn you about sticking your nose where it doesn't belong?
It's the same fight every day. 5 years we've been at this, and we still can't agree on how to properly tag salvage. Now you two listen, this is my place. While you're in the Sprat Shack, you'll sit quietly, or I'll forbid you to come here at all. Is that understood?
Fair's fair. I'll have a stout, and we'll settle this later on our own terms.
It's no good to leave a fight unresolved. If I don't do something, these two are gonna be at each other's throats. Would you do me a favor and weigh in as a third party? I can use an unbiased set of eyes on the problem, and an outsider like you fits the bill. Freddy, Trixie, go on and make your case to the generous stranger.
I'll start, seeing as I'm the one who's been most wronged in this equation. So, just up the road and due east of here, there's a shipwreck lodged in the mountainside, right? I staked my claim on that wreck. Then I wandered in for a drink. An hour later, Trixie swaggers in bragging about her salvage. Ugh, the nerve of some people.
When I found the shipwreck, there were no salvage mark. See, the whole area was teeming with bloodthirsty marauders. So I snuck around and added my tag, clear as day so no drunken idiots could claim the salvage out from under me, Freddy.
For the record, when I heard the marauders coming, I left. Trixie must have set her mark down after me. Sorry, I won't speak out of turn again.
Anyway, that's my story, sir. I drew next in the dirt, with my toe. Wouldn't surprise me in the least, but that doesn't mean it ain't mine.
In all my years, I've never heard a more contentious argument. I don't envy your shoulders for bearing the weight of responsibility. You've heard it from them both. So, who gets the salvage?
Thank you. Law, it's hard to get a fair trial in this sprat-fucked colony.
You'll pay for this. I don't know how, and I'm not sure when, but just you wait, and maybe it'll happen. Someday.
Here's a six-pack on the house, plus your fee. Maybe now we'll finally get some peace around here for a change. I'll write to Lilia Hagen in the corporate office on Groundbreaker. She'll get some haulers to drag it away. It'll take a while. Nothing happens fast around these parts. But at least the salvage would get a good home. A little too often, if you ask me, but that's the Sublight way. Anything worth doing is worth fighting over. Sorry about Freddy and Trixie. When they're not fighting over salvage, they're fighting over the bed sheets at night. They like to blow off steam during work hours, but as soon as they clock out, they turn into a pair of kittens. So, what'll it be? As a matter of fact, he did. Collateral for the bar tab he was racking up. So, I guess it's mine now. And no, you can't have it. No kidding. Far be it from me to get between a man and his final wishes. Here, I don't know what it unlocks, but Lucky seemed to think it was important. I take him at his word. Good. I've got paying customers.